but they have that bad situation, and then they go to the pictures and they see that guy there. They go to the supermarket and that guy's there. So these guys are really living in really bad conditions. And one thing we have to have a certain responsibility, but these guys are living with that all the time. That's
Yeah. I know what you deal with, and I imagine it's always a sensitive subject of trying to report the truth without giving too much where, it puts your life at risk. The boots on ground and just how you guys, I know what you deal with, and I imagine it's always a sensitive subject of trying to report the truth without giving too much where, it puts your life at risk.
I would just say just a note on that as well, that like the journalists who have really taken been in the front line or taken the bullets of this have been not only Mexican journalists, but Mexican journalists from a lot of the towns and communities where the cartels are strongest. So Mexico's a big country, and there's to add some nuance to this. I mean, Mexico City, where I live, is a city of 20 million, and people can come down here, and the level of violence in Mexico City is actually not that high. It's actually comparable to kind of mid-level US cities. You've got tourist resorts that people are still going to in the millions. You've got some pretty safe areas in Mexico, like Merida, for example. And then you've got these areas which is among the most violent places in the world, like Sinaloa right now, like Sonora, like Baja, like Tijuana, like Guanajuato, like Michoacán, Guerrero, and these kind of places. It's really the journalists from there who are the ones, and it's kind of like I just went to Sinaloa, and my adrenaline was like pumped like this, and it was pretty horrible. And I came down and I calmed down. Don't take any drugs to calm down except beer. But anyway, calm myself down. But these guys are living with that all the time. That's their. And if something happens, I have a bad situation with somebody, then at least I get on a plane and fly away. But they have that bad situation, and then they go to the pictures and they see that guy there. They go to the supermarket and that guy's there. These are, and that guy be like, I know where you live. I know where you live. So these guys are really living in really bad conditions. And one thing we have to have a certain responsibility of how I act. And if I go there, I can be a bit gung-ho and pushing this further. But then I know that those guys have to, if I piss somebody off, he could take it out on one of those guys.
Yeah.
Because they were with me.
Another question I had is that the current president, he's going to be leaving soon, and Claudia Sheinbaum will be filling in here next. Do you believe that there'll be any difference in the impact with cartel violence? Do you believe that there's going to be some kind of shift?
So the current president, known as AMLO, is leaving. I could make a mixed story about his record overall. It's a bit more complicated, his stuff. I mean, he did things like put the minimum wage up a lot, which that's why a lot of people like him. He gave a lot of scholarships for school kids, high school kids, a lot of families like that to take some extra money. But on the issue of security, he's been bad. He's been a failure. Saying that, the last two presidents were also ultimately failures on security. Enrique Peña Nieto and Felipe Calderón, while he, had a military crackdown, it also ended up with his security secretary, his security minister, in prison in the United States on cocaine trafficking charges. So that's going to have bad, right? So he's a lot of people, would have heard of him making this slogan, abrazos no balazos, or like hugs not bullets, and kind of being mocked for that. Like he was weak on cartels. He is. I mean, right now, right now with the Sinaloa wars happening, and he's kind of in denial. He's leaving power in a couple of weeks, but he's in denial, saying, "Oh, it's not really happening. This is propaganda by my enemies trying to make me look bad." It's like, it's happening. You take responsibility. You've got a city of 1 million people that, that are not working and stuff because of this violence. When Claudia Sheinbaum comes in, it's hard to read how she's going to be now. And with any new president, I always like to try and give them the benefit of the doubt about what when they come in. But like, I think She's got a guy called Omar Garcia Harfush, who she's going to put as a security minister, and he's got a quite tough reputation. He himself survived an assassination attempt by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. He ran security in Mexico City and reduced violence here in Mexico City. So we'll see how he plays out. But then again, she could be. I've seen a couple of statements by her where she looks kind of in denial about the Sinaloa thing. Or I saw one statement where she was saying, "Oh, we can't go in there attacking these guys, or it'll just create a war." I mean, there's already a war happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. And then it'll be interesting as well who she on the US side are you going to have as President Trump again or Kamala Harris? And then how's that going to affect the relationship? Because I imagine Trump will be more, maybe more aggressive if he does get reelected, more aggressive this next term and going after cartels and what that will mean. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious to see how that goes as well for our side as well as into Mexico once we figure out who our next president is.